The plasma membrane itself is composed of this phospholipid bilayer. The phospholipid bilayer has got, it's a lipid, guys. So when you're thinking about this bilayer, you have to remember that there aren't monomers that make lipids up. And because this is a phospholipid bilayer, there is a glycerol backbone and two fatty acid chains. One of those fatty acid chains has a double bond in it, so it's actually an unsaturated type of fatty acid, and there is a phospho group attached. Now, if you look at this membrane, of course, the little round blue parts, that's the phospholipid, that's the phosphorus group, and they call it the HIT. It's polar. The middle here are going to be what are called the tails, and they're nonpolar. And then you see these little bitty things here that look like little squiggly white molecules, and those molecules are actually cholesterol. Now, we did say that cholesterol was the most common and most abundant steroid in the human body. But what cholesterol does for the membrane is it gives it structure. It kind of, causes it to be a little bit more formed, and it also keeps your membrane from freezing. This is the good kind of cholesterol, guys. This is not the bad kind of cholesterol. So, not all cholesterol is really bad, and I think we have talked about that previously. The membrane is referred to as a fluid mosaic model because this membrane floats. And these proteins that are in this membrane that you see here, and we're getting ready to talk about them, they actually float inside of this membrane. So your membrane is not a real rigid membrane that is stiff and really well formed. It's very fluid. It's sort of like these proteins are like those corks that bob up and down in water. So when you go fishing, if you know those long corks, and they just sort of sit in that membrane and they all have a specific job. Now, one of the components of our membrane, other than this phospholipid bilayer, and remember, this is polar, the blue part is polar, and the center is nonpolar. So whatever is trying to come in, if it's polar, it will form hydrogen bonds with the head, but will be pushed away in the center. And if something is trying to come in that's nonpolar, it will not form hydrogen bonds with the head, and it won't ever get to the center. So other components in this membrane are proteins, cholesterol, and some carbohydrates. These little bitty green parts that you see coming out, these are the carbohydrates, and we're getting ready to talk about these now.